Senate will come to order. Mr. Carpenter, would you please take the roll?
Senators Aguilar, Baumgardner, Cook, Coram, Court.
Absent.
Crowder, Donovan, Finberg, Fields, Garcia, Gardner, Guzman, Hill, Holbert, John, Jones, Kagan,
Absent.
Kafalis, Kerr,
Absent.
Lambert, Lumberg, Marble, Martinez Humenic, Merrifield,
Absent.
Moreno, Neville,
Excused.
Priola, Scott, Smallwood, Tate, Todd, Williams,
Absent.
Zinzinger, President Grantham,
Excused. Senator
Court,
See anybody else we missed? Okay.
Mr. President.
I am here with 29 present, 4 absent, 2 excused. We indeed have a quorum. Senator Moreno, would you please lead us in the pledge?
Thank you, Mr. President. Colleagues and guests, please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Approval of the journal. Senator Court.
Thank you, Mr. President. I move the reading of the journal for Monday, February 12th be dispensed with and that the journal be approved as corrected by the Secretary.
You have heard the motion. Is there any objection? Seeing none, the motion is adopted. Please add Senator Kerr to the roll. Please add Senator Merrifield to the roll. Committee reports.
February 12th, 2018, the Committee on Business, Labor, and Technology has had in consideration had a hearing on the following appointments and recommends the appointments be placed on the consent calendar and confirmed. Executive Director of the Department of Regulatory Agencies, effective July 24, 2017, for a term expiring at the pleasure of the Governor. Marguerite Salazar of Alamosa, Colorado, occasioned by the resignation of Joseph Neguse of Broomfield, Colorado, appointed. February 12, 2018, Committee on Business, Labor, and Technology, after consideration of mayor's committee recommends the following. Senate Bill 138 be amended as follows as amended before the committee of the whole. The favorable recommendation be placed on the consent calendar. February 12, 2018, Committee on Business, Labor, and Technology, after consideration of mayor's committee recommends the following. Senate Bill 79 be amended as follows as amended before the committee of the whole. The favorable recommendation be placed on the consent calendar. February 12, 2018, Committee on State, Veterans, and Military Affairs, after consideration of mayor's committee recommends the following. Senate Bill 142 be postponed indefinitely. February 12, 2018, Committee on State Veterans and Military Affairs. After consideration of mayor's committee articles, the following: Senate Bill 107 be amended as follows. As submitted, be referred to committee of the whole. The favorable recommendation be placed on the consent calendar. February 12, 2018, Committee on State Veterans and Military Affairs. After consideration of mayor's committee articles, the following: Senate Bill 112 be amended as follows. As submitted, be referred to the Committee on Appropriations with favorable recommendation.
Senate Services.
Correctly printed, Senate Bill 167. Correctly engrossed, Senate Bill 5, 90, 91, 92, 94, 95, 96, 110, 111, and 121. Correctly re-engrossed, Senate Bill 2, 102, 122, and 127. Correctly re-revised, House Bill 1022 and 1031. Correctly enrolled, Senate Bill 4.
Third reading of bills. Consent calendar. Committee reports.
February 12, 2018, Committee on Judiciary. After consideration of mayor's committee articles, the following: House Bill 1075 referred to committee of the whole. The favorable recommendation be placed on the consent calendar. February 12, 2018, Committee on Judiciary. After consideration of mayor's committee articles, the following: Senate Bill 154 be referred to committee of the whole. The favorable recommendation be placed on the consent calendar. February 12, 2018, Committee on Judiciary. After consideration of mayor's committee articles, the following: Senate Bill 37 be postponed indefinitely. February 12, 2018, Committee on Judiciary. After consideration of mayor's committee articles, the following: Senate Bill 17 be postponed indefinitely.
Mr. Majority Leader.
Thank you, Mr. President. I move the Senate proceed out of order for consideration of Resolution SJR 005.
Question before us is to proceed out of order to resolutions. All those in favor signify by saying aye. All those opposed say no. We will indeed go out of order to resolutions. Please add Senator Kagan to the roll. Also, please add Senator Neville to the roll. You have to read the title? Mr. Carpenter. Mr. Carpenter, please read the title to the resolution.
Senate Joint Resolution 5 by Senator Gardner and Representative Liston concerning the installation of a bronze sculpture and explanatory plaque on the state capitol grounds to honor the men and women who serve aboard the USS Colorado.
Senator Gardner.
Thank you, Mr. President. I move SJR 18005. Members, and please be seated. Let me explain to you what Senate Joint Resolution 005 is. As many of you will recall from prior resolutions and actions by the General Assembly, the United States Navy has named one of its attack submarines of the Virginia class, the USS Colorado. And several of us, the senator from Alamosa and I, attended the christening of the USS Colorado a year ago, December. Now, this is a big deal for the state of Colorado that we have a submarine named for us, and we have taken extraordinary efforts to ensure that we support this effort and that we establish a connection between the state of Colorado and the crew of the USS Colorado. I want to personally thank the senator from Berthoud, who was instrumental in ensuring that we had some funding that will support the commissioning of the USS Colorado, which is going to take place on March the 17th in Groton, Connecticut. And the submarine will become officially a part of the United States Navy at that time. Now, there is a bronze sculpture, and I'll have it brought up for you to look at in the next couple of days. That is the ship's emblem, and we have two copies of that. The Colorado 30 group, which is a group of folks here, well, in Colorado Springs and here in Denver, that support our military activities and in Colorado, funded the bronze emblem. And the second one, the one we have here, is going to be placed in the Capitol on the first floor, south foyer, by this resolution. Now, just a digression, if you ever wish to have anything placed in the Capitol, you can't just go hang your picture up there. I know some of you might think that you should have your picture hung. You have to present your proposal to the Capitol Building Advisory Council, and then upon their approval, and there can only be one thing a year, it goes to Capitol Development Committee, and then this resolution, what it will do is authorize that placement. Now, on about March 9th, we hope to have a ceremony which will be coincident, sort of kick off the festivities for the commissioning the following week. And it is an important thing. It is an important statement. It will be there for visitors to the Capitol to see that the USS Colorado, which is SSN 788, I think, is out there in the seas defending our nation. It is a remarkable sculpture that we have because it has a stallion that is with the state flag embossed across it. So, members, I ask for your support for this. I think there are those of us who are going to try to travel over the weekend for the commissioning, and I would encourage you to think about doing that, as well as talk to your friends and neighbors and constituents about the USS Colorado and the importance and the crew of the USS Colorado. Thank you, Mr. President.
Senator Crowder.
Thank you, Mr. President. I very much support SJR 005. It's been an amazing journey so far. And I need to tell you a quick story. The son of the good senator from Pueblo is a future submariner. And the thing about it, when the senator from south here, when we were out there and we went through the process of the christening and whatnot, and then I come back to Colorado, well, this young man, and I believe he's a junior high student, he knew so much about this submarine, it was amazing to listen to him after we got back. The knowledge that he had on the size, the dimension, the crew capacity was just simply amazing. And you know, I listened in awe to this young man, and you could see it in his eyes of his future in the submarine class of this naval vessel. So it was really cool to listen to this young man. And I even gave him one of the scarves that we brought back. So it was really it was a special event for me to listen to him talk about his interest in this submarine. You know, the USS Colorado that we're looking at is a part of our history in a short order. So I think it benefits us all to support this, and someday when we come back to visit this place, we can look at this and say, well, I was there when this happened. But, you know, the naval force is changing to nuclear subs and, you know, warships of, you know, for our national security. So I think it's an amazing thing we have here. You know, I thought I would take the opportunity to ask to be excused on March 16th, so I will be going back to Groton. It's a 3-day event. I'm not sure if additional people would like to go, if it's not too late to get in. We've been working on this for some months. So I very much look forward to see the commissioning of this submarine. As a veteran service officer, I will tell you that in dealing with the submarine personnel, they were a unique class of people. They, you know, they highly intelligent and very American-minded. But with that, Mr. President, I will ask for the 16th of March off to go to Groton, and I very much support this resolution. Thank you, Mr. President.
Senator Gardner.
Thank you, Mr. President. Members, it's important to know what the plaque will say. There will be a plaque under the bronze sculpture. It will have an explanation so that when members of the public are touring the first floor, they will know what the connection between the submarine and the state of Colorado is. Because it is important that things that are placed on the first floor of the Capitol have a connection with the state, significant event of the state's history, connection with persons significant or appropriateness in some way. The plaque will read, the ship's crest of the USS Colorado, SSN 788. The bronze bas-relief sculpture of the ship's crest of the USS Colorado is a replica of the sculpture that is permanently mounted in the wardroom on board the USS Colorado SSN 788 submarine. The original was presented to the ship's crew during the christening ceremony on December 3rd, 2016 in Groton, Connecticut. The explanation also is important because the art is the work of United States Navy Ensign Michael Nielsen, originally from Arvada. This bronze sculpture itself is a work of Native American artist Doug Hyde, who's a Vietnam veteran and a nationally noted bronze artist. And it will indicate that the Colorado 30 Group is the donor. The 30 Group was founded in 1978 and serves to educate, inform, and foster understanding and cooperation between the civilian community, the government of the United States, and the U.S. Armed Forces. And so, as I ask for your aye vote on this resolution, I want to particularly thank the 30 Group for making the sculpture possible and ask for your support of the ship and crew of the USS Colorado and the placement of this sculpture on the first floor. Thank you, Mr. President.
Please add Senator Williams and the President to the roll. Question before us is the adoption of Senate Joint Resolution 005. Are there any no votes? With 35 ayes, 0 no, 0 absent, Senate Joint Resolution 5 is adopted. Senator Gardner.
Thank you, Mr. President. I would ask that the current roll call be added as co-sponsors to the resolution.
Seeing no objection, the current roll call will indeed be added as co-sponsors. Third reading consent calendar. Your baby. Is that okay? That's I'm tired of standing.
Mr. Carpenter, would you please read the titles of all the bills on the third reading of bills consent calendar?
Senate Bill 91 by Senator Martinez-Huminick and Representative Thurlow concerning modernizing terminology in the Colorado Revised Statutes related to behavioral health. Senate Bill 92 by Senator Martinez-Huminick and Representative Hooten concerning updating statutory references to county departments of social services. Senate Bill 90 by Senator Zenzinger and Representative Hooten concerning modernization of language and statutory sections concerning rights of married women. Senate Bill 94 by Senator Martinez-Huminick and Representative Hooten concerning the repeal of a duplicate definition section in Article 60 of Title 27 Colorado Revised Statutes. Senate Bill 95 by Senators Zenzinger and Martinez-Huminick and Representative Hooten and McKean concerning the removal of statutory references to the marital status of parents of a child. Senate Bill 96 by Senator Martinez-Huminick and Representative Thurlow concerning modernizing statutory provisions that refer to terms related to mental retardation.
Majority Leader Holbert.
Thank you, Mr. President. I move the bills on the third reading of bills final passage consent calendar, consisting of Senate Bills 91, 92, 90, 94, 95, and 96.
Motion before the body is the adoption of all the bills on the third reading of bills consent calendar. Are there any no votes on any of the bills on the third reading of bills consent calendar? With 35 ayes, 0 noes, 0 absent, 0 excused, Senate Bill 91 is adopted. Co-sponsors: Senator Kafalis, Senator Smallwood. With 35 ayes, 0 noes, 0 absent, 0 excused, Senate Bill 92 is adopted. Co-sponsors: Senator Smallwood, Senator Kafalis. With 35 ayes, 0 noes, 0 absent, 0 excused, Senate Bill 90 is adopted. Co-sponsors: Senator Smallwood, Senator Priola, Senator Kerr, Senator Court. With 35 ayes, 0 noes, 0 absent, 0 excused, Senate Bill 94 is adopted. Co-sponsors: Senator Smallwood, Senator Priola. With 35 ayes, 0 noes, 0 absent, 0 excused, Senate Bill 95 is adopted. Co-sponsors: Senator Smallwood, Senator Priola, Senator Kerr. With 35 ayes, 0 noes, 0 absent, 0 excused, Senate Bill 96 is adopted. Co-sponsors: Senator Kagan, Senator Aguilar, Senator Kafalis, Senator Crowder, Senator Gardner, Senator Priola, Senator Smallwood, Senator Lambert, Senator Garcia, Senator Court, Senator Todd, Senator Merrifield, Senator John, Senator Kerr, Senator Guzman. Third reading bills, wait, Senator John? Go ahead and go to the mic.
Yes,
Senator
Mr.
John,
President.
go ahead.
I would like to be added as a co-sponsor to Senate Bill 91.
Please add Senator John as a co-sponsor on Senate Bill 91. Third reading of bills, final passage. Mr. Carpenter, would you please read the title of the Senate Bill 5?
Senate Bill 5 by Senators Donovan and Scott and Representative Roberts concerning economic assistance for rural communities experiencing certain significant economic events that lead to substantial job loss in those communities in connection therewith, authorizing the Department of Local Affairs to coordinate non-monetary assistance to assist rural communities with job creation and retention.
Senator Donovan.
Thank you, Mr. President. I move on third and final reading, Senate Bill number 5, and respectfully ask for your aye vote.
Is there any further discussion on Senate Bill 5? Seeing none, the motion before the body is the adoption of Senate Bill 5. Are there any no votes? Senator Sonnenberg, Senator Baumgardner, Senator Cook, Senator Marble, Senator Neville, Senator Hill, Senator Smallwood, Senator Lundberg, Senator Lambert, Senator Gardner, Senator Priola, Senator Martinez-Humenick, Majority Leader Holbert, Senator Tate, Senator Kerr,
That was no votes. Don't join me, buddy.
I think we need all-day kindergarten just for you.
Senator Kerr.
Thank you, Mr. President. I'd like to be recorded as I vote on Senate Bill 5, please.
Senator Priola.
Mr. President, I too would like to be recorded as an aye vote. I thought we were on co-sponsors.
Any other no votes on Senate Bill 5?
They still bite me hard.
With 22 ayes, 13 noes, 0 absent, 0 excused, Senate Bill 5 is adopted. Co-sponsors.
Everybody's laughing. Why didn't this go through approach?
Senator Jones, Senator Zenzinger, Senator Garcia, Senator Fields, Senator Aguilar, Senator Todd, Senator Merrifield, Senator Crowder, Senator Kerr, Mr. Carpenter, please read the title of Senate Bill 110.
Senate Bill 110 by Senator Tate and Representative Arndt concerning the repeal requirement that each state agency annually report the amount of federal money it received in the prior fiscal year.
Senator Tate.
Thank you, Mr. President. I move Senate Bill 110 on third reading and final passage.
Is there any further discussion on Senate Bill 110? Seeing none, the motion before the body is the adoption of Senate Bill 110. Are there any no votes? With 35 ayes, 0 noes, 0 absent, 0 excused, Senate Bill 110 is adopted. Co-sponsors. Senator Crowder. Senator Smallwood. Mr. Carpenter, please read the title of the Senate Bill 111.
Senate Bill 111 by Senator Tate and Representative Arndt concerning the removal of an obsolete date in the law that designates state legal holidays.
Senator Tate.
Thank you, Mr. President. I move Senate Bill 111 on third reading and final passage.
Is there any further discussion on Senate Bill 111? Seeing none, the motion before the body is the adoption of Senate Bill 111. Are there any no votes? With 35 ayes, 0 noes, 0 absent, 0 excused, Senate Bill 111 is adopted. Co-sponsors. Senator Crowder. Senator Smallwood. Mr. Carpenter, please read the title of Senate Bill 121.
Senate Bill 121 by Senator Tate and Representative Arndt concerning certain expenses allowed to a state employee when the employee is required to change his or her place of residence in connection with a change in job duties.
Senator Tate.
Thank you, Mr. President. I move Senate Bill 121 on third reading and final passage.
Is there any further discussion on Senate Bill 121? Seeing none, the motion before the body is the adoption of Senate Bill 121. Are there any no votes? With 35 ayes, 0 noes, 0 absent, 0 excused, Senate Bill 121 is adopted. Co-sponsors. Senator Crowder. General order, second reading of bills consent calendar. Senator Smallwood.
Thank you, Mr. President. I move the Senate resolve itself in the Committee of the Whole for consideration of general orders, second reading of bills consent calendar.
Motion before the body is for the Senate to resolve itself into the Committee of the Whole for consideration of the general order, second reading of bills consent calendar. All those in favor say aye. All opposed, no. The ayes have it, and the Senate will resolve itself from the Committee of the Whole for consideration of the general order second reading of bills consent calendar. Senator Smallwood will take the chair.
Committee will come back to order. The court rule is relaxed. Will the clerk please read the titles to all the bills on the general order, second reading of bills consent calendar?
Senate Bill 103 by Senator Smallwood and Todd and Representatives Crowther and Leonard concerning the issuance of performance-based incentives for film production activities in the states. House Bill 1079 by Representative Beckman and Senator Crowder concerning the requirement that the Works Allocation Committee prepare annual recommendations for the use of Colorado Long-Term Works Reserve. Senate Bill 134 by Senator Cook and Representative Arndt concerning the exemption of nonprofit water companies from regulation by the Public Utilities Commission. Senate Bill 164 by Senator Moreno and Representative Thurlow concerning the repeal of reporting requirements for certain unfunded programs in the Department of Human Services until such time as funding is received. Senate Bill 131 by Senator Tate and Representative Hooten concerning modifications to the State Employees Group Benefits Act. Senate Bill 129 by Senator Moreno and Representative Arndt concerning the non-substantive reorganization of the law exempting from state sales tax certain drugs and medical and therapeutic devices.
Majority Leader Holbert.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. There has been a request by the bill sponsor to remove Senate Bill 129 from the consent calendar. Senate Bill 129 will be removed from the consent calendar and placed at the end of the general order second reading of bills calendar to follow Senate Bill 22.
Majority Leader Holbert.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. At the request of the bill sponsor, we're also removing Senate Bill 131 from the general order second reading of bills consent calendar. Senate Bill 131 will be removed from the consent calendar and will follow 129 on the general order second reading of bills calendar. Mr. Chair, I move the remainder of the bills listed on the general order second reading of bills consent calendar consisting of Senate Bill 103, House Bill 1079, Senate Bill 134, along with the committee report from Agriculture, Natural Resources, and Energy, Senate Bill 164, and its committee report from Health and Human Services. And that's it.
Is there any discussion? Seeing none, the motion before the body is the adoption of all the bills on the general orders. Is there any discussion on the committee reports? Seeing none, motion for the body is the adoption of the committee reports. All those in favor say aye. All those opposed, no. Ayes have it, and the committee reports are adopted. Is there any discussion on the bills on the general order second reading of bills consent calendar? Seeing none, the motion before the body is the adoption of all of the bills on the general order second reading of bills consent calendar. All those in favor say aye. All those opposed, no. The ayes have it, and the bills on the consent calendar are adopted. Majority Leader Holbert.
Move the committee rise and report.
Motion for the body is to rise and report. All those in favor say aye. All those opposed, no. The ayes have it, and the committee will rise and report.
Senate will come back to order. Senator Smallwood.
Thank you, Mr. President. Committee's had a number of bills under consideration. Will the clerk please read the report?
Mr. President, your committee of the whole begs leave to report had on consideration the following attached bills being the second reading thereof, makes the following recommendations thereon. Senate Bill 103, Senate Bill 134 is amended, Senate Bill 164 is amended, passed on second read order and gross and placed on the calendar for third reading and final passage. House Bill 1079 passed on second read order and revised, placed on the calendar for third reading and final passage. Senate Bill 131, Senate Bill 129 removed from the general order second reading of bills consent calendar and placed at the end of the general order second reading of bills calendar for 2/13/18.
Senator Smallwood.
Thank you, Mr. President. I move for the adoption of the report.
Motion for the body is the adoption of the report to the Committee of the Whole. Are there any no votes? With 35 ayes, 0 noes, 0 absent, 0 excused, the Committee of the Whole report is adopted. Senate Bill 103, Senate Bill 134 is amended, Senate Bill 164 is amended, passed on second reading and ordered engrossed and placed on the calendar for third reading and final passage. House Bill 1079, passed on second reading and ordered revised and placed on the calendar for third reading and final passage. Senate Bill 131, Senate Bill 129, removed from the general order second reading of bills consent calendar and placed at the end of the general order second reading of bills calendar for 2/13/18. General order second reading of bills. Senator Smallwood.
Thank you, Mr. President. I move the Senate resolve itself in the Committee of the Whole for consideration of general orders, second reading of bills calendar.
Motion for the body is for the Senate to resolve itself in the Committee of the Whole for consideration of the general order, second reading of bills calendar. All those in favor say aye. All opposed, no. The ayes have it, and the Senate will resolve itself in the Committee of the Whole for consideration of the general order, second reading of bills calendar. Senator Smallwood will take the chair.
The committee will come to order and the court rule is relaxed. Will the clerk please read the title to Senate Bill 43?
Senate Bill 43 by Senator Grantham and Representative Lundin concerning the legal effects that the rejection by the Senate of an individual nominated by the governor for appointment to the state office have on the subsequent nomination or temporary appointment of the same individual to or holdover of the individual in the same state office.
Majority Leader Holbert.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I move to lay over Senate Bill 43 until Wednesday, February 14th.
Motion is to lay over Senate Bill 43 until Wednesday, February 14th. All in favor say aye. All opposed, no. The ayes have it. Senate Bill 43 will lay over until February 14th. Will the clerk please read the title to Senate Bill 162?
Senate Bill 162 by Senator Martinez-Humenick and Representatives Buckner and Wilson concerning substitute child care providers.
Senator Martinez-Humenick.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Colleagues, this bill actually, I move Senate Bill 16162 for favorable approval.
Senator Martinez-Humenick.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Colleagues, this bill was actually supposed to go on the consent calendar and did not. And what this bill does is it creates new license type for substitute placement agency. And what this will allow is it will allow anybody that has already been a teacher to get a substitute license to actually work in preschool, daycare type situation. We have teachers right now that cannot afford to be gone because there's nobody to replace them. And this will allow folks who still want to teach and be involved with kids and their education to do so. So again, I move Senate Bill 162 and ask for an aye vote.
Is there any further discussion? Seeing none, the motion for the body is the adoption of Senate Bill 162. All those in favor say aye. All those opposed, no. The ayes have it, and Senate Bill 162 passes. Will the clerk please read the title of Senate Bill 148?
Senate Bill 148 by Senators Martinez-Humenick and Moreno and Representatives Lawrence and Exum concerning the continuation of certain benefits through the State Employee Group Benefits Act for dependents of a state employee who dies in a work-related death.
Senator Martinez-Humenick.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I move Senate Bill 18148.
To the bill, Senator Martinez-Humenick.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. This bill will require a state agency to continue paying medical and dental benefits, any benefits that employee and their dependents had if the employee dies in a work-related death for 12 months from the end of the month in which the work-related death occurs. We are a state employer, and we have a responsibility to our state employees, and so that's why we're bringing forth this bill.
Senator Moreno.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Colleagues, this is an important bill just to maintain our commitment to the survivors of our fallen public employees, and so I ask for your aye vote.
Is there any further discussion on Senate Bill 148? Seeing none, the motion for the body is the adoption of Senate Bill 148. All those in favor say aye. All those opposed, no. The ayes have it. Senate Bill 148 passes. Will the clerk please read the title to Senate Bill 22.
Senate Bill 22 by Senators Tate and Aguilar and Representatives Patterson and Kennedy concerning clinical practice measures for safer opioid prescribing.
Majority Leader Holbert.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I move to lay over Senate Bill 22 until Wednesday, February 14th.
The motion for the body is to lay over Senate Bill 22 until February 14th. All those in favor say aye. All those opposed, no. The ayes have it. Senate Bill 22 will lay over until February 14th. Majority Leader Holbert. Will the clerk please read the title of Senate Bill 129?
Senate Bill 129 by Senator Moreno and Representative Arnn concerning the non-substantive reorganization of the law exempting from state sales tax certain drugs and medical and therapeutic devices.
Majority Leader Holbert.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. At the request of the sponsor, I move to lay over Senate Bill 129 until Thursday, February 15th.
Motion is to lay over Senate Bill 129 until February 15th. All those in favor say aye. All those opposed, no. The ayes have it. Senate Bill 129 will lay over until February 15th. Will the clerk please read the title to Senate Bill 131?
Senate Bill 131 by Senator Tate and Representative Hooten concerning modifications to the State Employees Group Benefits Act.
Senator Tate.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I move Senate Bill 131 in the committee report.
To the committee report.
The committee, we modified the bill to add the bill number to the legislative declaration.
Is there any discussion on the committee report? Seeing none, the motion for the body is the adoption of the Health and Human Services Committee report. All those in favor say aye. All those opposed, no. The ayes have it, and the report is adopted. To the bill, Senator Tate.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. This is a statutory revision committee bill which was on the consent calendar, and I choked and took it off the consent calendar when I didn't need to. Thank you.
Is there any further discussion on Senate Bill 131? Seeing none, the motion for the body is the adoption of Senate Bill 131. All those in favor say aye. All those opposed, no. The ayes have it, and Senate Bill 131 passes. Majority Leader Holbert.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I move the committee rise and report.
Motion for the body is to rise and report. All those in favor say aye. Aye. All those opposed, no. The ayes have it, and the committee will rise and report. Then we'll come back to order. Senator Smallwood. Thank you, Mr. President. Your committee has met, had a number of bills under consideration. Will the clerk please read the report?
Mr. President, your committee of the whole begs leave report has had under consideration the following attached bills, being the second reading thereof, and makes the following recommendations thereon. Senate Bill 162, Senate Bill 148, Senate Bill 131 is amended, passed on second read order, and grossed and placed on the calendar for their reading and final passage. Senate Bill 43, Senate Bill 22 laid over until 2/14/18, and retaining their place on the calendar. Senate Bill 129 laid over until 2/15/18, and retaining its place on the calendar.
Senator Smallwood.
I move for the adoption of the report.
Motion before the body is the adoption of the report to the committee of the whole. Are there any no votes? With 35 ayes, 0 noes, 0 absent, 0 excused, the committee of the whole report is adopted. Senate Bill 162, Senate Bill 148, Senate Bill 131 is amended, passed on second reading in order to engross and place on the calendar for third reading and final passage. Senate Bill 43, Senate Bill 22 laid over until 2/14/18 and retaining their place on the calendar. Senate Bill 129 laid over until 2/15/18 and retaining its place on the calendar. Message from the House.
The House has passed on third reading and transmitted the revised statutes. House Bill 1045, 1056, amended as printed in the House Journal February 9, 2018. The House has passed on third reading and transmitted the revised statutes. House Bill 1073, 1117.
Consideration of House amendments to Senate bills. Mr. Carpenter, please read the title to Senate Bill 88.
Senate Bill 88 by Senator Gardner and Representative Becker Kay concerning clarification that the retail marijuana sales are subject to sales tax levied by certain limited purpose governmental entities.
Senator Gardner.
Thank you, Mr. President. Mr. President, I move reluctantly move that the Senate concur and House amendments to House Bill 1088.
Senate Bill.
Senate Bill 1088.
Senate Bill 88.
Senate Bill 88.
That's the one.
You know, I'm reading my cheat sheet here. My apologies, colleagues, but somebody decided that it was a House bill. It's House amendments to Senate Bill 88.
Senator Gardner.
Thank you, Mr. President. Members, when Senate Bill 88 went over to the House, there was this ongoing discussion about the authorization for retail marijuana sales tax, and the bill as drafted did not permit those special districts that could do sales tax to start doing so if they have not done so before. The drafting, and in all candor, colleagues, this was something that I focused on, which was fixing the problem. But what other special districts who were not charging the sales tax said was, well, we may wish to do so in the future, and we don't really have that authority under the statute. So what the House amendments do is give them that authority. But now let me be very, very, very clear that all it does is authorize them to do so if and only if they go to a vote of their constituents to do so. So it really restores for them what their status quo ante, as lawyers say, was before 267, which is if the special district's not currently collecting a sales tax, they wish to do so, it would apply to marijuana and every other product that was sold, but they would have to ask, absolutely have to ask under Tabor, their voters to do so. So this should be a very straightforward amendment, and I would ask for your concurrence.
Is there any discussion? Senator Martinez-Humanic.
Thank you, Mr. President. I have a question for the bill sponsor with regards to the House amendment on page 6, section 3. It was my understanding that this bill was to allow these special districts and their boards to decide if there was going to be a vote and allow them to collect this tax moving forward, but not to be able to collect anything retroactively because no taxes have been collected. There are no funds available to pay the retroactive amounts.
Senator Gardner.
Thank you, Mr. President. Well, the bill is attempting, I would say to the senator from Thornton, the bill is attempting to make it crystal clear, as if anything is crystal clear in all of this. The amendment that was L005 added language to make it clear that the intent of the bill, while retroactive, is not retrospective. And the amendment is designed to make certain that the law is put back into place for July 1, 2017, but not permit affected special districts to reach back and collect taxes for the period between July 1, 2017 and the date of the enactment. I guess I would say, while that makes it perfectly crystal clear, without the amendment, I don't know how you collect those sales taxes anyway, Senator. It just doesn't even, you collect sales taxes at point of sale, and if point of sale has already taken place, you can't go back and get them. But there were those who said, no, we got to make this really clear. So now we've made it so clear that you are, as with others, perplexed. But trust me, the language is to ensure that it was curative, but not allowing for retroactive collection, Senator.
Senator Martinez-Humanic.
Thank you, Mr. President. Could we have a senatorial 5?
Be in a senatorial 5. Senate will come back to order. Senator Gardner?
Thank you, Mr. President. During our senatorial 5, we have discussed the definitions of retroactive and retrospective. But more than that, I have pointed out, and will do so for the record, that the bill as amended in Section 3, page 6, line 11, 10 and 11 says that retail sales on marijuana, that authorized sales taxes that were not actually collected on retail sales of marijuana occurring on or after July 1, 2017, but before the effective date of this act, shall not be collected. And with that, I would ask for the Senate to concur in House amendments to Senate Bill 88.
Is there any further discussion? The motion is for the Senate to concur with House amendments to Senate Bill 88. Are there any no votes on concurrence? With 35 ayes, 0 noes, 0 absent, 0 excused, the motion is adopted. Senator Gardner.
Thank you, Mr. President. I move for the repassage of Senate Bill 88 as now amended.
The motion is for the repassage of Senate Bill 88. Are there any no votes on repassage? Majority Leader Holbert, Senator Marble, Senator Cook, Senator Baumgardner, Senator Sonnenberg, Senator Lambert, Senator Neville, Senator Smallwood, Senator Lundberg, Senator Scott, Senator Hill. With 24 ayes, 11 noes, 0 absent, 0 excused, Senate Bill 88 is adopted. Readopted. Co-sponsors. Message from the governor.
February 2nd, 2018, to the Honorable Colorado Senate. Ladies and gentlemen, pursuant to the powers conferred upon me by the Constitution and laws of the state of Colorado, I have the honor to designate, appoint, and submit to your consideration the following: Executive Director of the Department of Labor and Employment, effective pending confirmation by the Colorado Senate for a term expiring at the pleasure of the Governor. Samuel David Walker, Denver, Colorado, to serve as Executive Director of the Department of Labor and Employment, to fill a vacancy occasioned by the resignation of Ellen J. Gollenbeck of Denver, Colorado. Appointed sincerely, John W. Hickenlooper, Governor.
Business, Labor, and Technology. Message from the reviser.
We herewith transmit without comment House Bill 1117 without comment as amended, House Bill 1045, 1056, and 1073.
Announcements. Majority Leader Holbert.
Thank you, Mr. President. Members, you should have received correspondence regarding interim committees. If you are seeking an interim committee and the related funding, we do have a deadline of Friday, April 13th, 2018, in order to submit those requests. All requests must be finalized by that date, and no exceptions, can be granted on this request deadline. You should have this by email. If you have any questions, please see the Director of the Office of Legislative Counsel. Thank you.
Senator Lundberg.
Thank you, Mr. President, members of the Appropriations Committee, and any who may have a bill assigned thereof. It is coming up tomorrow morning at 8:30. I recommend that if you're on Appropriations Committee, you be there at 8:29, because by 8:33, we'll probably be well into the process. Thank you very much, Mr. President.
Senator Marble.
Thank you, Mr. President. State Affairs, we're going to be meeting 10 minutes exactly upon adjournment. today, and we do have 3 bills to look over, so please be prompt. Those bills are 144, 117, and 150.
Senator Martinez Humanic.
Thank you, Mr. President. Local government will meet today at 1:30, and we do have 2 bills that we will be hearing in Senate Committee Room 354.
Go, Senator Todd.
Thank you, Mr. President. All of you had a mug on your desk today. Want to invite you to join Junior League tomorrow morning for breakfast outside the Supreme Court chambers. So come and find out a little bit more about all the good work that Junior League does for the state of Colorado. Thank you.
Any other announcements? Would you like to? No? Majority Leader Holbert.
Thank you, Mr. President. We will not read bills over later today, Mr. President. I move the Senate adjourn until 9 a.m. Wednesday, February 14th.
Motion is for the Senate to adjourn until 9 a.m. Wednesday, February 14th, 2018. AD. All those in favor say aye. All opposed, no. The ayes have it. And Senate will be adjourned.